Welcome to Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. This is going to be a continuation in a series of videos about how handy it is to issue purchase orders and how the project manager in the field can approve the work done on purchase orders, and how the people in the office can see notes or that the work is done. If you haven't grasped the concept yet about how handy it can be to post purchase orders, even if you don't send the purchase order out to someone, by posting purchase orders you can mark who's supposed to be doing the work on a particular cost code. You can write notes from the field, as we've seen in the previous videos, that the person posting bills to pay or the person approving bills to pay can see. Let's continue on with that discussion. First of all, in the very previous video just before this one, I showed how you marked a purchase order as done that you had withheld $200 from, but you marked it as done so that it wouldn't show up in the list of open POs anymore. But I wanted to show you how if you're wanting to still look at the notes that you could see when you were looking at the open POs, you could do Vista View. And I happen to know, let's just open this list of POs. I was going to say I happen to know that it's ABC, but let's just open all of the POs in a list of purchase orders for this particular job. Now notice how if I scroll down here, I can see there's little pin icons. These are notes from the field, and if this icon is here, it means somebody can still write notes about it. But let's take a look at that. I think it was ABC Foundation. Duh. Right here. This one we had deducted $200 from, but notice we marked the work is done and the PO is done. And if I drill down on the costs, I could see that that we only posted $2,300 against it, and that over under PO is this, but it's still marked as done. And if I'm curious about it or want to write some more notes about it for some reason, I can click on that pen icon and I can still see the notes that are here. So later on, if you're needing to review the notes about what happened with that PO, they are here to be seen and they can be changed. I had put a little XX when I was experimenting. And they could be changed or updated. Somebody else could write a note on them, etc. I just wanted to show you how it's not completely gone from being able to see the notes about a certain purchase order. Also, if you open the purchase order itself from anywhere in the program, you can click a button at the top of the purchase order window that's also going to show you information. There are those notes. You can grab hold of this handle and read all those notes. You can see who did the approval of work done, etc., but why you didn't pay him the full $2,500 of this PO. So I just wanted you to be aware that just by check marking a PO as done doesn't mean you can't see the notes later on. But if you will recall, in our previous video, we marked several purchase orders as done, as the work done. And what I'd like to show you is now I'm going to be the bookkeeper. And if I click on Post Payables, I have a button that says Post Bills from Open or Approved POs. And I'm going to go ahead and click that. It's going to open a full database of all open POs that I can use for creating bills from the open POs. Now you can see here, if you scroll down, that there's a note right here that tells me why this is adjusted, and that's that note from the field again. Remember, we were adjusting United Plumbing, and you can read the note about why they're withholding $250, what the field told you. And the bookkeeper could now write some notes, but you should mark your name on it and say who wrote the notes if you're updating the notes, but you can see that the work is done. So what the bookkeeper might want to do, if you are going paperless and using purchase orders and asking your subs or suppliers to return a purchase order signed, and that's how you do payment, and that you don't care that much about the bills. That's the real paperless people. They're working off of POs totally, but then the bookkeeper might come in and just say, I want to see just the POs that have been marked that the work is done. And then that's all they're going to post bills for. So you can see here, let's go ahead and post this bill for United Plumbing right here. And you can see that we're only going to post one for $3,350, not for $3,600, because this has been deducted in the field, and I'll show you what happens with that after I post this bill. So let's go ahead and click Create on this. The bookkeeper can also drill down on all sorts of things to see if things are expired, etc. But let's go ahead and click the Create button for posting this bill, and let it check for expirations and things that it needs to warn us about. As you can see, the general liability alert has happened, and it says it's expired, so maybe our practice is to go ahead and deduct some insurance from this, but notice that the amount is for only $3,350. You could also do the same for workers' comp, but we just won't do that for right now. But it's now opened an area that will deduct this much amount based on 2.54%, which is what our insurance auditor told us was the rate they would be charging us for uninsured subcontractors, etc. But notice that this is the only amount that we're going to post. It's given it an invoice number that has to do with some information from the PO. You could change the invoice date, due date, the GL account if you need to. But also notice that right here, every time after you select a PO, you're going to have this link. And if you're not creating the PO from that Open POs window, but you just open this Add New Bills window and then you selected a PO, you'll also have this link. But if you want to be a very diligent bookkeeper, you can go ahead and read the notes from here about this purchase order and act accordingly. If you do the drop down, you're going to see that it's showing $3,600 as outstanding, and if you just use that, it would drop $3,600 in. So that's the benefit of going ahead and creating the bill from the Open POs that has that deduction on it, so it will do the deduction right now. So if I go ahead and submit this and post as unpaid to pay later, notice that I can also write some notes to the approval staff if I wanted to. And so let's go ahead and say by Carol King, I'm being the bookkeeper. Till they clean up the site. This is double doing sort of some notes, but I just wanted to show you that the bookkeeper could write whatever notes they'd like to write about it, or that their insurance is expired, or whatever they'd like. But you can see there's a little pin icon. This has to do with notes from the office, within the office, that start to be written back and forth. But so that bill has been posted for the lesser amount. And if I close this, and if I go to Home tab, and if I look here for approve unpaid job costs, and I click that, and I happen to be George Brown coming back now after the bookkeeper, or I'm the boss coming in to do approvals, that might make more sense that I'm the boss. But let's select this. Let's say we're only interested in our demo job, and we want to open unpaid payables that have been posted by the bookkeeper. I'd like you to notice, let's just go take a look at United Plumbing. Here's this amount that we have posted as unpaid that is waiting for a check mark 1 and a check mark 2. Notice that this says PO and dash work. Yes means that there's a PO, which means you could click this and open the PO. Also, you notice that there's notes from the field that you can look at. And also you can notice that there's notes from the bookkeeper that you can look at. You can also do some drilling down to the ECC for this, get that variance cost approval that we were looking at before, and see what's going on with all of that. You can see, I'm sorry, and you could also drill down to the POs versus costs. Then you can see that 3600 and 3350 has this minus 250 on it. If this PO would get marked as done, PO done, but it's not yet because you are going to go ahead and pay the 250. It's showing remaining to pay. We have posted unpaid costs, but we still have the whole 3600 to pay. So you can see how much review that person can do and how much the office can communicate with the project manager. Let's play like I am just the project manager, and you just see a pin icon here. Notice that there's one up here on a cost of framing, and the office is telling me based on some stuff that they looked up while they were posting the bill about how this price is higher if you're drilling down on it and seeing it. But this will cause, if you're approving bills to pay and you're going to check mark it as okay, like we'll go ahead and check mark this one as okay, we've studied on it. This one, there's also a note, and you can, from the field, and you can see that it's saying a cost of framing has been back charged for this. And if you go and look up in a cost of framing, you can see the minus 416.76. You'd want to go ahead and approve that. That's the total of these two amounts that you're going to pay, but you can see that back charge, you want to withhold it from this payment that's going to be made to a cost of framing. But hopefully you get a pretty good idea of how you can use approving the work done in the field on purchase orders, how the bookkeeper can quickly bring up a list of POs that have approved the work done, especially if you're going paperless. But even if you're not, I think it's advantageous for the bookkeeper, if they've got a bill in, to go ahead and use that window for open POs so that they can see that little icon that there is a note about them there, and then create the bill from the open POs list. So if you've got a bill, maybe you go to the open POs and then search for that vendor, etc., to see if there's any notes on the little pin icon. Going to save the work I just did, the things I just approved, and then you can also see one more thing. That's where somebody's approving actual job costs, but if you open the unpaid payables window, and let's just do a really quick one, ABC Foundation, but you can open all the unpaids over here and see the same thing. But let's just look at ABC Foundation for a minute. Guess we should have looked at United Plumbing. But you can see PO work, yes, and you can click this little pencil icon. You can see that same information there about why you're only paying $2,300. Or if you did United Plumbing, this is the screen that somebody uses to check mark and print checks from. But you can see that there's some little notes icons about this, letting you know about this note icon gives you some further information that the bookkeeper typed. You can also check over here on any of these work dones to look for work notes before you are marking them to pay. This OK1 and OK2 just means usually it's the project manager doing OK1, then it's maybe the boss of the company, the owner of the company, doing OK2 to pay them. They can drill down to all sorts of information, and then somebody check marks them to pay, so that they will be, check will be printed to them in the next check run. Okay, I hope that gives you a pretty good idea of how handy purchase orders can be for communication between the field and the office. And maybe you can consider not routing all the bills around to the project managers, or bringing them into the office, making them drive, leave the site, etc., to approve bills. There's the beginning communication in the field where they can approve work done on POs. Then there's after the bookkeeper posts the bills, there's a screen for the project manager to use to approve the bills that have been posted, that they approve them to pay. But by using purchase orders, there's never any of those phone calls about what cost code. There's no project manager having to sit and code bills, etc. So I strongly urge you to make use of these tools and streamline your business and see how you can watch your costs while you're doing this process and how you can communicate. Thank you for watching.